Class is now in session. I'm Professor Hockey, and today we'll be reviewing this past week for the San Jose Sharks, this being Week 9. The Sharks started off this week with a game at home against the Carolina Hurricanes. They were coming off of a pretty poor 5-game road trip in which they only went 1-3-1. However, for the Sharks, the last game of that road trip happened to be a win in which Martin Jones managed to play spectacularly against the Montreal Canadiens, and so the Sharks were hoping to bring that momentum here at home, and that is what happened. The Sharks, who had given up a two-goal lead to the Hurricanes earlier on this season when they defeated them in shootout with Aaron Dell in nets, this time it was Martin Jones. He continued to play very well, and the Sharks cruised to a 5-1 victory to take the 2 points there. However, the Sharks then headed back onto the road, flew over to Dallas, Texas to face off against the Stars, a team that also beat them earlier on this season, that time 4-3, by only a single goal in regulation. And the Sharks were also playing rather well in this game, but it ended up coming down to a goaltending duel between the Stars' Ben Bishop and the Sharks' Martin Jones, and it was Bishop who came up on top. The Stars once again defeated the Sharks in regulation by only a single goal, 3-2. The Sharks then had to face off against the Arizona Coyotes the day after in Arizona, as they came out to a rather strong lead, as again they came out very well in the first period and they ended up having a lead of 3-0. However, as we've seen multiple times this season, the Sharks once again gave up the lead and the Coyotes managed to claw back to make it 3-3. The Sharks got the all-important next goal, putting them up by a single goal once more, and that was a lead that they would not give up, and with the empty net they managed to take the 5-3 win in an important divisional game to end the week 2-1. For the point getters, it was Timo Meier, who came back from injury against I believe it was the Montreal Canadiens. He ends up with 1 goal and 4 assists this week. 5 points for him. That puts him at 28 points in 28 games, so he continues to be a point-per-game player for the Sharks. Logan Couture is next, getting 2 goals and 2 assists this week, putting himself up to 30 points. That is one off from being a point-per-game player, as that's 30 points in 31 games since Couture has played the entire season. Tomas Hertl, really the 3 players from what could be the Sharks' best line. 2 goals, 1 assist for him, putting his point total up to 21. Of course, he also missed a few games this season. Then it was Erik Karlsson getting 3 assists, putting his point total up to 19, and Joe Thornton also getting 3 assists and getting his point total up to 12. Those were all 5 players who got more than 2 points. Many players like Evander Kane managed to put up 2 points, Joe Pavelski as well. News of the week. Martin Jones, is he back? It's interesting to evaluate. Obviously, the last game of last week against the Canadiens, he was spectacular. He started off this week very, very well against the Hurricanes as well. His game against the Stars, while I did say he lost the goaltending battle because he did let in a soft one, he was actually rather solid in the game as a whole. And of course, he didn't play the game against the Coyotes. And so Martin Jones, you take a look at his last 3 games and they are much, much better than the games earlier on this season. Now, of course, they weren't against the best competition, the Canadiens, the Hurricanes, and the Stars, and we'll see how Jones performs as the Sharks face off against better teams, but he is on the up and up, and the Sharks will hope that can continue moving forward. Radil's first NHL goal, he scored that one against the Coyotes. That was the goal that made it 4-3, gave the Sharks back the lead in that game, and ended up being the game winner in it. So definitely a very nice goal for a player who, at the age of 28, it seemed maybe like he would never actually get to the NHL. He was playing overseas for his entire career up to this point. He's played only a couple of games for the Sharks this season, only coming in when there's an injury or if there's a healthy scratch, as there is right now to Suomela, and he rewards DeBoer's decision-making by getting that first NHL goal, and it was probably the most important goal of that game. And the last point is improvement. The Sharks now are 3-1 in their last 4 games, and what is most interesting about it is that they've actually been playing rather well for the majority of these games. You look at against the Montreal Canadiens, the third period wasn't very good, but they had a couple of very good first periods. Against the Hurricanes, they were quite solid for almost the majority of the game, only giving up a few chances here or there that Jones came up huge with. Against the Stars, I actually thought they were rather good. They were controlling the pace of the game. However, the Stars just managed to capitalize on that one extra chance. And against the Coyotes, again, the Sharks were actually quite solid for the majority of the game, but it was Aaron Dell who gave up just a couple too many goals on the few chances that the Coyotes managed to put up. And so there have been a limited amount of great offensive chances. The Sharks have been playing better defensively. They are getting some goals as well. And so moving forward, the Sharks are going to hope that these things can continue and that they can purge the last few missteps in their game like that mental issue of giving up the leads and the mental issue of sometimes giving up one too many breakaways. Class dismissed.